Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the objects and also we'll see that how to add the class file, how to create and use an object. In the earlier sessions we have already discussed about the concept of class and object, right? We know what is class and what is object. If I say that for example, if this is my class student, if I say this is my class student, so in that case each student will be my object, right? So here we have different objects. So this we have already discussed, but today we will see that how to declare the object in the VB.NET, how to create the class file or how to add the class file, and how to work with the objects. So let's start. So very first we will see that how to add the class library or the class file. Before we check that how to add the class file, I would like to give one example. Like let's say that okay, let me draw something over here. Okay, for example, let's say you have a project, right? And this is your front end. This is your front end, and this front end contains multiple forms, login form, registration forms, and all the other forms. And here you have database. Now of course in this database contains multiple tables, right? Multiple tables you have. Now the thing is, we know that forms are connected with the tables. It might be one to many or a many to one relationship. Like one form can be related with the multiple tables, or one table can be related with the multiple forms, whatever it is. In short, your all the forms required a connection between this database, right? You need a connection between this database. So in that case, what we do normally, this is just an example to understand the class file concept. So just for the understanding, what you can do, you can create one class file. Okay, here you can create one class file in which you can write your connection string, which can connect with this database, right? Through which you can connect with this database. And then this connection file or this can be your class file, which can be used in all the other pages or the files. So this is something class. This is something class file. A class file means something which you want to use in all the other pages or the forms. So this is the concept, right? You can keep it a centralized like that. So let's see how to add the class file. So here we have taken the previous example only just to show how to add the class file. So go to your project name and right click, and there is a add option is there where you have multiple options, right? And there is a class, there is a one class option. Click on that, and here it will ask you to give the name. Because I'm going to create the connection class, so I'm just giving the CLS connection or CLS database connection. So this is the name of my class file. Okay, and this way you can create the class file in your application. Now here you can write your connection string through which you can connect to the database, or you can connect your whole project to the database. So write your database connection string here. So yeah, this is about the class file, and you can see that in the Solution Explorer forms are there along with the class and all the other things, right? So that's it, how to add the class file. Now what is object? in VB.NET, right? So we already know the concept of objects, but let's understand it in more in a different way. So to store values, a variable can refer to an object. So whenever we store the values, store the data, that variable we can be referred as an object, right? To store the values, we use the objects. So to store the values, this is the first thing. To store the value, a variable can refer to an object. Second point is, an object variable is used to store temporary values. Keep in mind that it can be used to store the temporary values. You cannot store the data permanently inside the object. Then how to declare? So we have a dim statement for that we'll see in the next slide. So dim statement is used to declare the object variable and create the instance of the class. This is not new for us, right? Instance of the class. So all the objects, when I say that this is the student class, if I say this is the student class, then my each student is an object, and means I can say that S1, S2 are the instances of the student class, right? So all the objects are instance of class, and a variable can be declared with the data type objects. So in other terms, if we can say that object is nothing but the type of kind of a data type, like class and objects both are the data type, right? So this is just a brief idea about the objects in the VB.NET. Then we have declaring objects. How to declare the objects? It's very easy, similar to the normal declaration of any variable. Like here we have a dim word, right? Dim is a keyword, and after that you can write the name of your variable. Any name you can give. The same rule will be applied for this, like variable naming convention rules, right? As this can be your class or this can be your object. So this is the way, like here we have example like dim, and I have given the variable name obj my button. This is my variable name, but this variable should contain the button, any command button. So I can use this variable as a button. So this is my object, right? It means what? That if I want to use the properties or a methods I can use with this variable name. There are two different ways to declare the variable. As you can see that after S directly you can write the class or the object. But if you write new, what does it mean? So when you are using, okay, let's see it in our next slide. So new, if it is omitted, then it will behave differently, and if it is there, if new is there, then it will behave differently. That we will see in the next slide. So here we have a purpose of declaring objects. So what is the main purpose of declaring objects? So dim statement declares a variable as either the general type of object or a specific class. This we know that we use the dim statement to declare any objects. Now what is the importance of this keyword? What is the importance of this new keyword? So new keyword is used an instance of the class created allowing access. Remember this, allowing access to the properties and methods of the class. Means if I have written new, before declaring during the declaration of the object, means that I can access all the properties and methods of that particular class. Means at that time it will behave exactly like an object. When I write new, it will behave exactly like the object. But suppose new keyword is not there. In that case you can only assign the specific you can only assign the specified class in the subsequent code. Like we can say that variable is left unpopulated and unoccupied, means it is not busy, it is empty, right? But can be assigned the specified class in subsequent code. Like see, this is the object, right? This is the object. Right now we have not mentioned new, it means it is unoccupied, right? We have not written anything else. Because we have not written new means we cannot use the properties and methods of that class. So right now this object is unoccupied, it is unoccupied, but can be, okay, wait a minute, okay, but can be assigned what can be assigned the specified class, means whatever we have specified that we can assign to this object, not the exactly the properties and method of that class, but only specific class. For the specific class we can use this object. This will you can see in the practical. So when you will do the practical, you can come to know that okay, when you declare the object with and without new, what actually happens with this with the code, right? So this is about how to declare the object. And the finally we have the use of object, how you can use the object. So one important or the one most useful thing about the object is to shorten the code. It will reduce the length of the code. For example, here you can see we have taken one example like without object and the with object. So what is the difference? So see, here I have taken me dot active form dot active control dot text. So all the active controls on my active form, I want the text welcome, right? So all the active controls, right? Also I want to change some other property for that, means if I have a set of controls, see, when I have a set of controls for the different properties I want to apply, in that case if I create the object, then it will reduce the length of the code. How? See here, okay, see here we have taken ctrl active, like control active, as what, as this portion, as this, as system.windows.forms control, right? For all the controls, and we have just given the name me.activeform.active control. Now what will we do? Instead of writing this whole line, I write simply this object name. This is my control active, and I can use the properties, right? So this is how you can use the object in your project. So this is about the objects and the class file. So that's it for this session. Next we will discuss in the next session.